Namaste, beloved. How are you? My name is Syma, and I'm an international sacred feminine coach, spiritual healer, author, and yoga teacher. And I have the blessing of supporting soulful women all over the world in healing their blocks, transforming their lives, manifesting their dreams, and flourishing into the goddesses that they are. Today, I would love to share with you some insights and guidance on one of my favorite topics, and this is all about boundary setting. Boundary setting is something that all my clients struggle with, I have struggled with, and I just think it's one of those things that even if we know about it, and like myself, or maybe even professional therapists and counselors, it's just one of those things that we can spend a whole lifetime learning how to master. Because I think anytime we think we've learned how to set boundaries, we're given a new opportunity of how to stand in our power and continue to set our boundaries. So it's so important, and I want to share with you some really key tips on why it's essential for you to set boundaries, why you must set them, and then I'm going to give you some tips on how to start setting boundaries, and I'll share with you, if you want to go deeper, what you can do if you'd like to work with me, okay, my love? So the number one reason why you must set boundaries to create healthy relationships is really so you can be true to yourself. Because when you are not setting those boundaries, you are creating relationships where they're not really in alignment with your highest good. And in truth, they're actually not in alignment with everyone's highest good. And you're not saying yes to you, right? When you can't say no to others, unreasonable demands on your time, your energy, your resources, then what's happening is every time you say yes, but inside you really want to say no, it's like a little piece of your soul dies, not that your piece of your soul dies, but it's like you're not being true to yourself, right? When you know from the inside, as a woman especially, but even as intuitive souls, all of us can feel in our body when our body is saying no. So really listen to your body, right? And when people are tugging on your time and energy and you just want to say no, or someone's acting in a way that is crossing a boundary for you and you don't do something about that, then you're not being true to yourself. So the number one reason is so that you can be true to yourself. And sometimes you have to be prepared for consequences. Like in my personal life, if I hadn't drawn boundaries, I would have a very different life. I had to draw huge boundaries that had big consequences based on my culture, my family, my upbringing. I had to say no to abuse, that cycle of abuse, my parents hitting my younger siblings and I. So I had to end that cycle of abuse by literally holding my mother's hands and saying she could no longer do that when I was 17. I had to refuse an arranged marriage that my father was practically forcing me into, and thankfully we were in Canada, so he actually couldn't. And he said to me, if we were in Pakistan, the day never would have come where I would even have been asked who to marry, right? So thank God I was born and raised in Canada. But so saying no to that marriage, and then I was forbidden to pursue a post-secondary education, and I had to go through so much to go against my parents' wishes, mainly my father's. Then let's see, my father at one point was wanting to force me to wear hijab, and he just kept saying, you have no choice, that's the head covering. And I just said, you can't physically force me, I'm not going to do this. I'm a free woman here. Yeah. Other things like not giving money to certain family members because they just didn't want to work, right? And so not enabling that kind of unhealthy pattern for them and for myself. I was getting into credit card debt, giving to certain people that weren't taking responsibility for their own finances. So all these things had consequences. I was disowned by my family. I was kicked out. I literally had my clothes thrown in garbage bags at the age of like 22, 23. I was called selfish for not lending money that I knew I would never see again, and callous and cold and heartless and a Western lost feminist with no morals and values. I've been called these things by my own family, and it was okay. What it taught me was that it's more important for me to be true to myself, and I'm married for love. I do what I love, right? I had to draw these boundaries then with bosses and many other parts of my life. And now, even in my profession, sometimes I have to draw boundaries with clients. Like I don't answer emails between sessions. That's stated on my terms and service on my website. So I have a clear boundary around my time. When you're working with me, you're paying for the time that I give you one-on-one. So continuing to draw these boundaries, and it's an art, but you must draw them, my love, to be true to you, because when you are true to you, your life will transform, and people who are in your life and people who love and honor and respect you will do so because of who you are and because you're being true to yourself. So you deserve that. The second reason you must draw boundaries is so that you're not a victim, right? So that you're not blaming other people for your unhappiness, for why you can't do the things you want to do, and saying, well, I had to, they made me, I don't have a choice. When we say things like that, we put ourselves in victim mode. And then we complain, but it's completely disempowering, right? So we need to draw boundaries so that we can be in our power and not play the victim and blame others, but know that we do have the power to say no and to say yes to us. And finally, you must draw boundaries because God wants you to be happy, right? God, Goddess, however you connect with the divine, universe, love, whatever works for you, you were created to be happy. And when you don't draw boundaries, when you give away yourself, your time, your energy, your resources, your love, your support, when it's not appreciated, not reciprocated, not recognized, not, or it's taken advantage of, and you're just running dry and you're not focusing your time on what you want to do in your life, on your true priorities and your passions and your values, and it's like you're not enjoying life to the fullest. And sometimes I have clients who are struggling with just feeling a basic sense of motivation, right? They're saying, I'm struggling with, I don't have any zest, any passion, any vitality, I need to connect with my inner goddess. And then we realize that they have been giving away themselves to everybody else and not placing their needs and their dreams and their desires first, or even prioritizing them at all, right? So I know, of course, we have priorities, we have families and responsibilities, but there are ways to draw these boundaries in a way that we are being happy. And you deserve to be happy. That's why you were created. You were created so the divine could experience itself through you. And you are experiencing that divinity, that divine God, Goddess, when you were happy, when you were doing something where you're just blissed out, when you are enjoying life to the fullest. That is God experiencing itself through you, my love. And that's why you must set boundaries so you can live your life doing that, okay? So I hope that gives you some motivation and inspiration to get fired up and start setting those boundaries, right? Okay, now I want to share with you how you can get started setting boundaries. Number one is to build your inner self-love, self-worth, self-empowerment, and self-respect. Because really boundaries come down to respecting ourselves, right? And knowing, to be true to yourself, you have to know yourself, know thyself. And you have to know your values, know your priorities, know your needs, and know the lines. If someone crosses it, ooh, watch out, right? So you must be able to build that inner self-love and respect to know that you are worthy of your boundaries. And if there are consequences, like as I shared, I had in my own life, that it's okay. It was okay for me to have my own father tell me that I failed him as a daughter, right? He even at one point said to me that, you have failed me so much, I feel like my whole life has been a waste and I just want to die. So my father's actually said things like that to me. And it was heartbreaking in the moment, obviously, and no one wants to hear something like that from your parent, but it gave me the strength finally and this freedom that if I can be okay with my own parent feeling that way about me and saying things like that to me, then I'm okay. I can be true to me, and in the end that matters more. So what will happen when you start loving and honoring and respecting and empowering yourself enough to set those boundaries is your love and self-respect and empowerment will strengthen. So it's a two-way thing. The more you love and respect yourself, the better you become at setting boundaries. The more you set boundaries, the better you become at loving yourself. Don't you love that cycle? My next really helpful tip for you, my love, is to create space, right? Boundaries. When I think of boundaries, I think of space. So you want to create both physical and energetic and emotional space. Physical space can be as simple as if someone is asking you for something, you don't say yes right away. You say, let me get back to you. Let me get back to you. Let me think about it. Let me sleep on it. I'll get back to you. And then when you get back to that person, they know that you've had time to consider it. So, sometimes people start drawing boundaries. They say, oh, I'm trying, like I'll say no right away, but then people start arguing with me and saying, why not? And I get guilt trips and all that. So when you actually create some space and say, let me think about it, and then go back to the person who's maybe making a demand or having a request, then you have more power, because that person knows that you have given it your due time and consideration. There's a little less resistance from them. So definitely play with that. But also creating energetic and emotional space. You do need some time to think, like, do I want to join that committee? Do I want to make 12 dozen cookies for the bake sale? Or, right, you really get to think, okay, what are my values? What are my priorities? Is this in alignment with the life that I want to live? Does this serve me? Is this for everyone's highest good? So you just have time to really actually sleep on it and see how it feels in your body. This is why I love doing my feminine work, because as women, we feel in our bodies if it's a yes or no. So listen to your body, and you have to give yourself space, sacred space. Meditate, get quiet, be in nature, so that you can really hear if it's a yes or a no. Also, you want to create energetic space. So in my course, Sacred Self-Care for Sensitive Souls, which I just launched today, I go super in depth about all this kind of stuff, but I especially talk about energetic boundaries. So you want to shield your energy from any people that may be toxic, and maybe people that you're just, starting to or really need to draw some boundaries with. And you want to clear your energy constantly, and you want to ground yourself. So I give you all those tools, but these are some ways to energetically draw boundaries as well. So you are like cutting cords, and I literally teach you how to cut your energetic cords with people in the course. It's so essential to have these space clearing techniques. I have a video on smudging, so you might want to look that up. Oh, and by the way, when I was talking about self-love and empowerment, I have a guided meditation on self-love on my YouTube channel, as well as a self-empowerment meditation on my YouTube channel. So please be sure to subscribe and access all of those. And I've also written an article on how to feel worthy by connecting with your divine worth and value. So I'll give you a link on accessing that article as well, my love. Creating space is really essential in helping you to have that sense of healthy boundaries and making your relationships a lot more healthy. And finally, of course, boundary setting is all about centering into your power, being true to your joy, and speaking your truth with love, clarity, and grace. Speaking your truth, when you're in that place, you don't need to yell and scream. You don't need to be passive aggressive. You don't need to be shy and timid or trembling on the inside. Even though it takes courage, right? When you center into your divine worth and value and power, and that's in your solar plexus, that's why I have a little more yellow here with my flowers and the yellow solar plexus chakra here, you are igniting the inner sunshine, the inner light, the inner strength, your inner power. So when you are centered in your power, the throat chakra opens up beautifully as well, and it's like you just speak your truth with firmness and grace. And there's power behind your words. And it doesn't matter what your words are, even as much as your intention and energy behind them. So sometimes we need to do a lot of inner work to get to that place. I know I did. And that's why I do the work that I do. So if you want to go deeper with that and need some support with that, you're welcome to book a one-on-one coaching session with me, my love. But these are my tips for you. I hope they really help you. And I just hope you know you deserve to draw boundaries so you can really have a healthy life, have healthy and vibrant and fulfilling and mutually honoring relationships. Be true to yourself, enjoy your life to the fullest, and really share your light in the world, right? Because then you'll finally have the time and energy to do that, to do all the things that you deserve to do, that you desire, that you were meant to do. So I hope this has served you. If you want to go deeper, you can book a session with me. I have my course out right now, which will help you in so many ways, Sacred Self-Care for Sensitive Souls. So I'll leave some details on how you can explore that. I would love to gift you some more gifts. So join me for a free guided meditation MP3 where we go through all your chakras, so that will help with your solar plexus and your throat and just everything. It's a goddess meditation if you resonate with goddesses. So come on over to flourishinggoddess.com and grab that meditation by signing up. Join me on Facebook and Instagram I love your comments. I just want to say I so appreciate your loving comments. I feel so blessed to make these videos for you, and when you appreciate them, it just lights me up. You know, it's like I just do this to serve you. So I love your comments. Please let me know how this has served you. Let me know how you're going to draw some boundaries and the difference that it's going to make for you in your life, my love. I hope it's really supported you, and I'm sending you all my love. Namaste.